Hey YouTubers, and welcome to Bevan's Bricks. In today's video we're going to be covering some basic vegetation, we'll call it, ideas and strategies and things you can build to fill in empty areas in your city and even to build trees and shrubs or whatever. But again, it's going to be a quick video on how to do some basic vegetation. Anyway, the first thing I want to touch on is flowers. I know it's a real simple topic. It might even be something that most people don't even want to discuss, but I figured I'd touch on it anyway. The reason I wanted to bring it up is if you notice, recently in one of my brick orders, bricklink hauls, I had showed that I got a lot of new little flower parts. And I'm sure everybody knows how the normal flowers go together. But what I wanted to touch on as far as the flowers is how you can see how this one's yellow and white. What I wanted to touch on that is if you put the flower pieces on with that little stud sticking up, you can actually click, and that one flipped out of my hand, you can actually click like these new flower pieces on top of it. And what that does is it gives you a little more depth to your plants. But not only that, you can actually do like this. You can even get other, like a bright yellow base, for example, and you could put a round brown stud on top of it to give you like a dandelion appearance, for example. It's also a really good way to stack parts and things if you're ever doing like an underwater theme. Another quick touch-up thing I wanted to show is you can stack these to make it look like one large plant like I have here. And all this is a normal 3-leaf plant piece, and then it's just 2 of these regular flower pieces stacked on top of each other. But again, to give it some depth, you can take, and we'll take this one for example because it's got the little new flower pieces with the old one there. You can stack that on top of that, and then you can put that one on top of there, and then like I said, it gives it some depth. It really makes it look like it's a really full plant. Uh, like I said, I just wanted to touch on that real quick. Anyway, something else you can do with these stems that I just would like to point out is they are great for making what appears to be weeds. Like say if you had, this was a green base plate, for example, you could every so often just place one of those along your green area and make it look like it's a little weed popping up. As a matter of fact, you could even take these, like I have an alleyway scene behind my office complex that I'm building. But you could take these in a few spots where I have it looking like the concrete's cracked on the pavement. You could put one of those in there. So just like any regular parking lot or alleyway or anything else that's not superly well maintained, you could put one of these little guys down there and it make it look like you got weeds growing up the side of the building. Anyway, that's my really super quick thing there. Something else I want to show you is this is a really simple, quick, easy build for making potted plants. As a matter of fact, if you are a longtime follower and you've seen my Lego train station, these are the plants that are on the either side of the entrance of my train station. I also have one of these on either side. I think it's on the inside of the train station by the food carts, if I'm not mistaken. And all you're doing is you're taking 4 of these, stacking them on top of each other, and then again, it's another use for the flower stem part, and we put that up on top. And that gives it the look like it's still growing new shoots and whatnot, and new leaves. And I mean, you can even go a little step further if you want, and take all those pieces and stack them on top of one of these 3-leaf pieces, and gives you a whole different looking plant. Or you could put 2 of the 3-leaf pieces below that and stack it all together. But again, I'm just trying to give you guys some quick, simple, easy ideas on how you can do plant life in your city. Now I'm going to touch on a real simple tree. Now what I do for a real basic tree, it's something quick and easy to do for any city project, is you just get, this is, I believe they call this a 1x1x5, if I'm not mistaken. It might even be a 1x1x6. Okay, looks like it's a 1x1x6. But anyway, it's I get them in brown. You can also get them in black. but you can take that and use that as your tree stem. I also use these, just wanted to make a quick note and point out, I use these for my telephone poles as well. I think it's a lot simpler than having to stack a bunch of 1x1 round bricks, to just do it with that instead. But anyway, now that you have your tree base, what we do is we start stacking a whole bunch of the green leaves on it. So what I'll usually do is start like kind of zigzagging, pattern them. So that way it gives it kind of a neat fill. And I always try to keep it different on every way that I put the leaf piece on it. Reason is it, like I said, it'll fill the tree out as you're going up. But usually once I get to the point that I'm at there right now, I'll take one of these little, I guess we'll call it a lightsaber piece, but either way it's a small lengthed arm, and then I shove that in there. And that ensures that it's going to hold it together better. So even if you were to bump into it, because these leaf pieces don't exactly grab the best in the world, but once you put that little piece on there like that, it actually helps it hold it a lot better. But anyway, now we can take a few more of those and slide them on randomly. Like I said, doesn't have to be anything of any type of specific or anything else. Just keep sticking them on there. Like I said, the more random the better, because it will give each tree a more unique look. And then I'll take one or two of these and put it on top, and there. Now I can't see the peg, so I stop. Now that gives you a nice, quick, easy, simple tree. It looks really full. It's great for parks, backyards, if you have house builds and whatnot. This is a really good item to just decorate around different buildings for smaller landscape. You can even use this style if you're going to be doing streets along city sidewalks and whatnot. Typically though, on a city sidewalk, what I'll do, let me pull that back off, is I will take, let me pull that back apart again, I'm sorry about that. Because a sidewalk, typically when you're building your towns, I've been trying to, with my new city, keeping them a little wider, but typically most people's sidewalks in their cities are only about 6 studs wide, 6 to 7 studs wide. So you don't want the tree to be too full. And another way you can do a nice simple tree is just keep stacking them in the middle. So you just take that and put it in the middle. Usually what I would do with this situation is I would put a 1x1 round in between those with the hole in the middle, and I would use a different piece to hold it together, or I'd even do a 1x1 round brick, I should say. But you can take and just keep randomly putting those together, and again, take your pin, shove it all the way down in there like that. And like I said, you just randomly put them on. It's no specific direction, no specific order. And then that gives you another nice way of making a tree. And again, you can see it looks very full. It looks like a real nice little tree, and it's a small decorative tree. But like I said, typically when I do something like this, it's what I'm doing along a city street, or like right directly in the front of a building or something, is when I go with a tree that would be that extremely small. The next thing I would like to discuss is bushes. And what I do with bushes, again, it's another really quick, easy build. As a matter of fact, let me do the one in light green. How I do that is I'll take a 1x1 round stud, like so. And again, I just start randomly placing my pieces on there, my tree pieces. And I'll do like, say, one that way, one this way. Do one out here. Do another one the opposite direction of that. And just keep randomly going. Once I start getting a little bit of height to it, again, I take this little bar piece. I shove it down through there, because that's, like I said, what keeps all those little plant pieces together. Put one of those there. And just like I said, just keep randomly just shoving them on. There's really no wrong way to do this. There's no specific order or anything. And once I get so tall to where I can't see the peg anymore, I stop. And again, that gives you a nice little foliage or a shrub or a bush. And again, just like the tree, where I spread it all out or I stick it all together, because you can make a small version of this too, just like the tree. All you got to do, let me pull those back apart again. If you want a nice small thick bush to put in front of a house or a building of some kind, again, just keep it all, only stick it on the center peg. And then you just stack it right on up. And again, just randomly just shove them side to side. Let me throw that piece in there. And as you can see, it gives you a real quick, filled, full bush to place out in front of a building or out in a field or wherever you may need it. And now we have it a little bush. And don't be afraid to use different colors too, because it's nice to have like this color green and the dark green. For example, here's the dark green. I have a chain on that, but you put your dark green next to it. And that way it kind of adds up to, like I said, if you're out in the woods or something, that's a real good way to make it look like a natural forest, because just like if you're out in a natural forest, you're always going to run across different colored tree branches and different colored leaves and things of that nature. But anyway, there's two different ideas to give you some bushes or shrubbery to fill in your city. The problem with both of them or any of them is it doesn't matter which way I'm showing you to build. It takes a ton of these little leaf pieces. So the best way I found so far anyway, or the cheapest I found, was I used to always order them from Lego Shop at Home. I haven't searched for any of these yet on Bricklink. If I find a really good supplier at a really cheap price, I will share that at some point to be able to get these particular pieces cheaper. But normally I buy these at Lego Shop at Home. Anyway, the very last piece I know a lot of people have been looking for or been asking me about is how I build, and this is kind of hard to get it in the camera here, but it's how do I build this really big pine tree looking thing. I'm going to do a really small version of it. Let me pull this one apart so we can start it. The first thing I want to point out is you're going to start, you can use brown or black, it doesn't matter, but you're going to use 2x2 round bricks. And then once you put that on there, I put 4 together. I just want to show you, this is the bar piece with the little nub on the one end. I don't know what to call it. I need to learn my lengths a little better so I can describe it easier. But anyway, when I'm using these, especially when I'm doing it for a tree, like with this for example, you want to put this in with that bar on the bottom. And the reason is that bar will just sit inside of there and then it'll still connect in there. And this bar will not be able to slide back and forth in the tree. So you can take that and slide that in there, and then see all you have is that little nub sticking off the back, and that's going to go in there to make this one continuous, nice, solid piece. Now the next thing you're going to need a lot of is these. This is a newer piece made by Lego. I'm not really sure what to call it except to say it's a 1x1 modified plate. But what's awesome about these is it's got the rounded back. Before, when they would make these, they were square, so you could never get a different angle or anything about them on a tree or a build when you're doing them. Where with these, what I generally like to do, like I did with the pine tree that I just showed you anyway, is I will go through and take, and I just dropped that one on the floor, I will go through and take and put them on opposing each other. And then you take, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. And then you come on and you put another one of those 2x2 round bricks, and then you're going to take, and then I'll spin it around a little bit, the next row. So as I'm putting it in, like I said, each one I'll just kind of spin just a little bit so it's not, you want it to overlap so that way it'll fill in the gaps as you're coming up the tree. So we're putting that one over there. Now we're going to take another round brick. As a matter of fact, this time, well, just to speed things along, because I don't want to have to keep making this a forever video anyway. I should have, as soon as I get it here anyway. I'm sorry about the delay on this. I already have this piece all made up with that same bar on the inside of it. And again, like I said, you want to keep staggering them and rotating them, as you can kind of see there, because you don't want them to overlap. Let me push that over a little more. Like I said, it'll help keep the tree filled fuller. But anyway, now that you get that, this is 4 more of the 2x2 round with that bar again in the bottom of it. See, there's the bar that goes into it, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4 more rows of those. So now we're going to place that on top of there like so. And now it's getting a little out of skew, so what I'm going to do, now that hopefully you can see that, I'm going to tell you what the next step would be as you get up to this point, because as you get to this point, the last thing you're going to do, which I hope you can see here, is you're going to put that 1x1 plate, or I'm sorry, 2x2 plate on the very top of that, once you get it to this point here. Now once you're at this point, this is where you're going to be using a whole bunch of these bricks now. Now these are the 1x1 modified with the handle. And now what you do with this is on every leaf or leaf part you're going to put on that tree, you're going to need one of these to click to that, and then you're going to take your tree and you're going to click it on, and then you're going to put it on a slight angle. And that's what actually gives you that pine tree effect. So we are going to do that, and just to speed it along, I'm going to just do it on the one side. Again, remember how I said that you want to keep staggering it? This is why you want to keep staggering it, because as you're doing it, you got a little gap in here, and then the next piece you put on is going to cover that gap. So as you see, as it continues to go, you can just keep, it'll overlap every time you do it. I hope I'm not going too fast for you guys, and I hope this is clear enough for you, as I'm trying to keep it in focus as much as possible. There, I hope you can still see that anyway. And again, stagger it. And you're going to do that with all those stems all the way around on the tree, as you can see, like that. And as you're doing that, that just fills it right on up. Now once you get to the top, because I know it's really hard to see what I'm doing in here, so remember, this is going to be still standing all the way top. I'm trying to keep everything as tight to you guys so you can see as much as possible. Now you're going to start the last little portion of it. And now what I do for the last little portion, because as you get, with any tree, as you get to the top of the tree starts to get smaller. So what I do with that is I start with a 1x1 round. This is going to be actually go on the center. When you're actually building this, you would want to put this right dead center of this 1x1 or 2x2, as I'm popping that off. You'd put that on the center of your 2x2 plate there. But I'm going to build it over here because it's getting too tall, and I'm trying to keep everything as up close as I can so you guys can see. But anyway, you put those on there like that, and then you start using some more of these 1x1 modified with the handle, and you just start running them around like so. And what I do is I do a total of 8 of these. So right there's 4. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, you want to try and stagger them as much as possible. And then once you get to that very top one, the 4th one, you're going to put a 1x1 round tapered brick on the inside of that. Now, on all these pieces, once you get them to that height, again, you're going to be using more of these, and you're going to be using this style of leaf piece, because on the top of the tree, it gets smaller. You want it to stay smaller. So now you're going to take these, and you're going to clip that all the way around, all the way up as you're going along. And then once you're done with that, again, this would already be completed and on it. This would be on top of that. And I am making a horrible version of this tree. But anyway, that would stick up there like that. I'm sorry this last portion isn't as good, but what it is it's hard to get it up close and personal so you guys can see the pieces as well, and keep this whole thing in focus. But anyway, that was my quick and easy, I hope, vegetation video to help you get ideas and builds and such for your Lego creations. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope this helps you build more things in your city and keeps giving you new and fresh ideas. And I hope to see you guys next time on Bevan's Bricks. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe below, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again.